Hey there, welcome back to Analytic Insights. In this video, I wanted to run through how to do a left join in Zoho Analytics SQL Query Editor. Now, before I show you how to do that, I want to make sure we have at least some foundation of what we're going to be doing. So right here, if you look in the top left corner, and by the way, I did not create this chart, this comes from codeproject.com. If you see these two circles, A signifies a left table, and B signifies your right table. Now, in a left join, all we're doing is saying, give us back every single row in table A, and only bring back the rows from table B that match table A. All right, so let's go right into our query editor in Zoho Analytics to get a little bit better perspective on how we can do this. All right, so here we are in Zoho Analytics, and before we jump into writing the query, I wanted to get you familiar with the two different tables that we're going to be working with. So right here, we have the All Employees table, which is a very short list of employees that I just typed in here. Now, we've got their IDs 1 through 5, first name, last name, job title, and then their department. And then we have our Sales Employees table, which has all the exact same columns, but you'll notice that we only have the sales department here. One other thing I'll draw your attention to before we move on is that the employee IDs are 1, 3, and 4. And if we come over here, we can see that 1, 3, and 4 are all sales. So keep that in mind, because that will be important when we return our results. Those are the results we should be returning. Now, Zoho makes it pretty easy to open a new query or create a new query. All we do is come up to create and do query table. Then it opens up and it gives us some example here. I'm just going to go ahead and click Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac and get rid of it. Now it just makes it easier for me to write my own code without all their stuff cluttering up there. Now we always start out the queries with select, and then I actually skip down to the from line before I actually tell it what I want, which columns I want to bring back. So we're going to go from, and now on this from line is where we're going to put our left-hand table. So we want to bring back all of the employees here, and then we're going to also bring back sales employees that match, right? So we're going to go ahead and say our left-hand table is our all employees table. And in Zoho, you can do it a couple different ways. You can either start typing, and it will, if I type the right thing, all employees, and it will pop up and suggest your table, and you can go ahead and click the tab key and it will pull that in. Or you can come over here to the right-hand side. If I highlight this for you, you can see here, it lists out all your tables in all of your different columns, and you can just actually click those and it will pop it in there right where your cursor is sitting. So I'll go ahead and show that here. If I go ahead and hit enter, so remember this from is going to be our left hand table in this circumstance, and I'm going to say left join, and now we're going to do our right hand table. Now I'm going to go ahead and click over here, and I can see my sales employee table is right here. So I'm just going to click it, and you can see it pops it in right here. Now we need to join them on something. And so we need to figure out which column is common between them. And do keep in mind that I'm working with primary keys. So there's one column that's very common, and this is a perfect scenario. So what we have to do is say on, and then what we have to do is type in the table name dot the column name. Now, what makes this easier, and I skipped this part, is actually aliasing these tables. Now, I'm going to say, since it's all employees, I'm just going to say AP. And since this one is sales employees, I'm going to call it SE. So now, since I've aliased it, I no longer have to type out all employees dot my column. I can just say AP dot and then my column. And I can come over here to all employees on the right hand side and click employee ID. And now I have to do, okay, all employees employee ID column has to equal the sales employees dot employee ID column. So I'll come down here again, drop this down and click employee ID. Perfect. So now that's going to join it. It's going to say, give me everything from all employees, since we told it's a left join, and it's only going to return what matches from sales employees. Now we need to tell it which columns we want. So I'm going to say from all employees, give me the first name, and capitalization does not matter to Zoho here. I'm going to say AP.last name, and then I'm going to see AP.employee ID. Now I do need to put these in double quotes since there's a space here. And then what I want to do is say from our other table, our right table, sales employee dot employee ID, just so we know that they're matching. And then I'll do sales employee dot first name, comma sales employee dot last name. Okay, so that's looking good. There's no errors. And so if we go ahead and execute this, we'll see yes, it worked, perfect. Our exact results that we were looking for. Now you see that our left-hand table, all employees, as I mentioned before, only has 5 people in it, and it brought back all 5 of them as we expected, and it's only going to bring back those people from the sales employees table that matched. So it's only going to bring back our sales people. Since we only had these 3 people, it should match all 3 of them, which it did. And these ones are blank because it's bringing back everything from our left-hand table and nothing matched from it on our right-hand table. And so that's why those are going to be blank. Now, one last little cleanup bit I like to do with my queries, and this is a really good practice to be in, especially when you're going to build different charts and dashboards off of a query. I like to come in here and alias the selected columns. So if I go like this, I'm going to go ahead and say first name here. I'll say last name here. And we can actually make it one better, and we can do all employee last name. Oh, if I can spell it right. And we can do all employee first name. And then we'll come over here and do all employee ID. This one is now into the sales employee, so I'll do sales employee ID. And then we'll do the same here. And if it'll let me scroll over, actually I'll just bring this down and say sales employee first name. And one last one. I know this is taking me forever. Sales employee last name. Okay, now when we rerun it, all that does is renames our columns, but it makes it way nicer than seeing AP first name, AP last name, because if you leave that in a chart, someone is going to get confused, especially someone who's not familiar with queries, which is going to be most of your stakeholders. And if we rename it, it's very clear on what they are looking at. All right, perfect. That is all we have today for left joins. I hope it made sense. If you have any questions on it, please leave a comment, and I will continue to make these videos on joins. Next, we're going to do a right join, and we'll continue on with full joins and other kinds of joins and many other videos. So stay tuned, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.